I'm just saying that the sun god is Apollo, right? That's all I was saying, actually.
No, and I told you no, it's Helios, and I told you I'd post you a picture, and I just did. That's the sun god riding his horse.
Okay, but according to the measurements, though, one sun cycle isn't 24 hours, though. It changes.
Yes.
It goes faster and slower. It goes faster and slower throughout the year.
That's why the average is useful.
But also, like, this has to do with sundials, and like the resolution of angles has to do, like, you can't resolve anything like less than a minute of angle on a sundial. So like, due to that, it approximates to, like, we just say that there's 24 parts because the geometry of the sundial is never going to change. Does that make sense? So it's adjusted for summer months. It's adjusted for like to keep time correct for it.
What do you guys think? I think the sun was the first thing worshipped. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Ancient Indo-European cult has sun as their main god. Like, the one of the oldest cults in the world, the Mithraic cult, is actually the worship of the sun. Like the Indo-European culture worship the sun, ancient times, because the sun actually gave them light and gave them life. Even in the Vedic pantheon, the Surya, so the god is named Surya. So that sun worship is common across the entire Indo-European pantheon, which is one of the most famous one. The Hebrew one is different. That is Afro-Asiatic. So yeah, sun god worship was always there. Even in Egypt, because the Jewish culture actually takes a lot from Egypt. So even in Egypt, they used to worship the sun as Amun-Ra. So yeah, sun worship is everywhere and every culture. So time is basically the sun.
Like but it's also it's kind of a product of just the environment, though. Like, because shit is scary out in the wild. Like when the sun comes up, you're like, oh man, how nice is that? That it's not dark anymore.
Yeah. And not only that,
I'm not freezing. That's cool.
Sun used to kind of, it was an ancient belief that sun is the warrior god that kind of, protects you from disease and, kind of, infections or whatever. And then it kind of grants you wishes as well. Like this was also there. They used to worship the sun. Even today, in many parts of the world, people still worship the sun. Like and pray to the sun every single day. Like yoga has some salutations, and even Tai Chi has certain movements which is actually kind of paying respect to the sun. I mean, every single culture still has it. It's not like it's gone. It's still there. So time is basically a reference to the sun, the movement of the sun. That's exactly what it is. It's not the numbers that we see. It's just the movement of the sun.
Like, you can tell when maybe you're hungry that like some amount of time's gone by. But also, it's like our solar plexus that's located in.
Exactly. And
maybe I'm
P-Chang
it. Forget it.
Even if you think about this, the whole scam that took place, like the C-19 thing that happened. So it was basically a reset, right? I mean, the way they kind of reset things. So they use the word corona, right, which is basically the outer layer of the sun. So they were trying to reset society and everything. So they were.
It's actually just like a native, like, static type class. Like, it's a classified. It's a
No. But the fact. No, but the point is this. They use the word corona, 19. So coronavirus as well. So they are referring to the sun over here as well. So they're kind of trying to reset society, and even while doing so, they refer to the sun. So that's the point. Time and society and nature and God and everything is basically the sun. That's exactly what they're trying to say in one way or another. So just look at this. Even in this case, sun was there. It wasn't the moon. It was the sun that was referred to. So, this is the thing. It's kind of,
Look at the thing I posted, speaking of the corona, right? If you look at Orthodox, the way they represent the saints, right? Look at the bottom picture, the second from the right. You see how they have the halo over their heads, the corona?
Yeah.
It's another reference to the sun. Yeah.
It means
Yeah,
crown.
Prometheus actually gives the fire to man, which actually helps mankind build technology, which could be an allusion to the fact that, well, not an allusion, but still, kind of a symbolism for the sun as well, because the sun gives light to mankind, and kind of, guides them and all that. Whenever they crops, like for example, in ancient times in Iran, what happened was people used to worship the sun using the name Mithra, right? So they used to do that because farmers, when during the night time, they were attacked by all these pests and thieves. Their farms were actually raided by these guys, so during the night time especially. But when the sun came on, they used to run away. So they used to worship the sun as their god because of that. Because sun actually protected their farms or whatever. Like that's what they believed, and that's why it was one of their main gods in every culture, pretty much, especially in the Indo-European culture. So yeah, there's a mention of the sun everywhere.
Well, the Maitreya cultures are also the ones that like are represented by a tripartite flag of different colors, like red, white, and
No,
green.
that is
Those
that
three
is a
colors.
later. I know, but that is a later appropriation. Like that tricolor, red, green, and
These are like Maitreya countries.
yeah, 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 yeah. Iran, Italy, Italy because Italy is Rome.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
before Christianity rose,
The tripartite. Hold up there. It's
Yeah, let's give
representing three
people
different
time to
class
finish.
society, right?
Yeah.
So there's an agrarian, there's like a military, and then there's a clergy. That's what the white is the clergy, the red is the warrior class, and then the green is the agrarian class. Thank you.
Yeah, that happened. That happened after the Sassanid Empire, right? I mean, they kind of revisioned the entire thing, but that because the the Zoroastrians actually took over, and then they kind of they kind of created their own society. I mean, it was a dictatorship by certain people. So yeah, even in Zoroastrianism, if you look at the eternal fire that kind of burns, they still worship the fire, right? So there's only one thing that kind of keeps on burning forever, the fire. So that's a reference to the sun as well, because
You
the
think
god that they call.
like that fire Zoroastrianism is almost like very equivalent to like a stupa in like the Vedic traditions, and so like that's
Yeah,
got an
yeah,
orientation of like an east to west that's done on the equinox, and it's like meant to be like a sort of a meeting place between like heaven and earth, I guess, like through that fire or whatever.
yeah. Agni. In India, it was called Agni, and in Iran, it is called Atar. So Atar is basically one of the commanders of Ahura Mazda. So Ahura Mazda is actually the good god, the bounteous immortal. That is what it actually means. So that fire god, the fire that keeps on burning, like they're basically trying to say that fire creates life. So you're alive because of the fire. So now that is not literal because nobody's alive because of fire. It's water, right? So they are basically trying to say there's a fire that keeps on burning that gives light to mankind. So what is it? Like it could be only one thing, right? The sun. So that is exactly what it is. Like
No, I
sun.
think that has a too. Sure, good stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, they seem to be related too. Like also like is like the I think Mitra is like maybe buried in like a proto form within like the Vedas. No, it's the
Yeah, the way
which one
the
was that?
way is actually much older than even Zoroastrianism, but
I
and
think
even
even like Yahweh goes into there too. As
Yahweh is not.
like
Yahweh is
Yahweh,
actually
like a form of Yah.
yeah, but Yahweh is Hebrew, like it's Jewish actually. It has roots in Egypt. So yeah, but it's
You
the
can
opposite.
research what I'm saying. I mean,
No, it's
I'm not
actually
pulling
the
it.
Iranian. It's actually the Iranians who took over.
Right. So who are the
Arab.
Iranians, right? The Iranians are like Persian, but that's like they're like I think they're like Asiatic Indians that just kind of like did their own shit, and they were like, "Yo, we teamed
Yeah,
up."
but
and we figured
they
this
were
shit
not
out."
Semitic. Yeah, they were not Semitic. They were Central Asian and Indo-European
No, I
by
don't think that they
this.
were Semitic. I don't think I said that.
Yeah.
But they shit. I mean, some of the biggest empires are out there, like the Achaemenid.
Achaemenid. Achaemenid Empire.
Yes, thank you.
Achaemenid Empire.
I was
Yeah, I
getting
know.
confused with the. Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. World's first historical empire. If we go by the history that we are being taught, yeah, they're the first ones. They created the first Commonwealth in the world, and after that, the Greeks took over, and then the Romans. So yeah, they were the ones actually. And
I just think mixing this like the Sassanid, the Persian, that kind of dynastic flow, even in Iran, right? Like there's like Blue Lotus is like reference to like that like harkens back to like roots of Krishna or something like that to me. Anyway, so to me it's like very transitive. All these things are very transitive. Like they tell stories about the people that they're connected to, and then those traditions and techniques kind of carry on. And
yeah,
then the men
they
have
do.
many wives, right? And then all those sons go out and do something. We're like lost in the sauce after because who knows?
Yeah,
Who knows?
they do. Now, the Parthians actually were proper Mithraists. If you look at
Parthians,
their
right?
practices, like the Parthians were basically Indo-Europeans properly. They were not even Medians. The Iranians, they were actually lived in Iran. They were actually, well, it is
Okay.
known, it is widely assumed that the Iranian people are basically the Median people.
Are you saying?
But
Okay. Okay. Wow.
The Parthians who actually took over Iran by destroying the Seleucid Empire, which was created by the Greeks. They were actually proper Mithrite because they used to commit Zetoda, in which they used to marry sisters and even mothers at point because they didn't want their race mixed with, the Medians. So yeah, they were proper Indo-European, East European race of people who ruled over the Iranians, and they were the ones who actually followed Mithraism. And they were the ones who were actually taking over the Roman Empire because Rome, before the rise of Christianity, was actually Mithraic. Most people don't know that, like the Roman Mithras, right? The bull slaying, that
Right.
sculpture of
Right.
bull slaying, in which
And so like the pairing of like that history with like the Zoroastrian like power dynamic of that time kind of like forced the hand of the Holy Roman Empire to go full Christian neon on it, and then like I think that basically shored up their like
that did
ingress
happen
to that
because there was a
culture.
guy. Yeah, there was a guy named Ardashir Baba Khan. When he came to power, he basically took over and toppled the Parthian Empire and kicked them out, basically saying that these people are basically Europeans taking over our culture and all that. The nationalism thing, like the Donald Trump and the Hitler of his time. So he basically kicked them out, and he was successful, and that actually kind of prompted Rome and Constantine to take some action because if this guy was actually taking everything over, he wanted Babylonia, he wanted Palestine, he wanted everything back. He believed that it belonged to Iran, and Rome was actually battling the Parthians for it, but they kind of negotiated, kind of they had a settlement. But when this guy came in, he was like, no settlement, I want all of it. So that's where the problem began. So Rome was actually kind of accepting Mithraism for a moment, but then they were like, nah, we cannot. We have to do something. We have to remove this cult from our entire culture because if they infiltrate, then there'll be a problem. And after that, Constantine kind of, what he did, like the Council of Nicaea and all these things was basically a way to, it was kind of a strategic move by him to remove this Iranian influence over his country, over his empire. So that's what it was. It was actually this is the reason why Christianity came to power. If you look at Christianity in its early formative stage, it's pretty much, it has a lot of elements which is pre-Christian, like Indo-European, even though it takes over from the Testament and all that, but still it's kind of Indo-European by its entire culture and everything, right? The birthday of Jesus, which is ascribed to 25th December, but if you actually look at it, that is not the birthday of Jesus. If you go by the Bible, right? That's actually a Mithraic festival. That's not
Like in
Mithraic.
right, I mean before Flamberge on that, like the just like the